So Calvin, this is kind of one of those sports stories I feel like everyone's heard once. And of course, also, we think you watched Narcos also, right?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so we know a little bit about Pablo Escobar and his reign of terror there in Colombia. But today we're going to go over the soccer player Escobar, Andres Escobar, kind of learn a little bit more about that whole situation and what exactly led to his death, because I don't really know the specifics. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot either. I know it was an own goal.
It was an own goal in like the 66th. I'm almost sure that's the case, but I guess we'll see. This is from Full Time Football. Shout out him. 1994 World Cup, June 2nd, June 22nd, 1994.
This is the story of the life and the tragic death of the so-called gentleman of football, Andres Escobar.
Turn this down some.
Rama and Faustino Asprilla leading the golden generation of Colombian talent into the tournament. Arguably, the jewel in their crown was that of their defensive talisman, Andres Escobar. The 27-year-old centre-half was quiet, well-disciplined leader at the back, who was as respected by his teammates as he was adored by his fans. Plying his trade at his hometown club, Atlético Nacional in Medellin, Escobar was so highly touted that it had been reportedly
So he was playing in Escobar's territory too.
offered a contract by Italian giants AC Milan before the 1994 tournament. In their 6 qualifying games, they conceded just 2 goals while scoring 13,
Jesus.
including a 5-0 victory against the Giants of Argentina in Buenos Aires. In 26 matches leading up to the 1994 World Cup, the Colombians lost only once in a friendly against Bolivia. Socially in Colombia, it was a time of terror, fear, and misery. The city of Medellin was in a state of emergency following the murder of notorious drug lord Pablo Escobar, as well as building several football pitches, many of which were played on by the stars of the Colombian national team as young boys honing their craft. It is commonly believed that Escobar was the principal financier behind Medellin's Atlético Nacional, which featured Andres Escobar in its ranks, which Pablo Escobar died on December 2nd, 1993, throwing the country into a new state of uncertainty. When Pablo died, the city spun.
See, the way I've always heard the story is that they were like connected a lot more, but he's dead, so that's obviously not true.
Yeah.
Even a policeman could be good or evil. It was against this backdrop, with frequent bombings
That's really scary. You don't know if a policeman's actually a good guy. Damn.
Wow.
and shootings,
Imagine that a policeman actually turned out to be a good guy. That would be a crazy situation. I wouldn't know what to do.
That's a plot twist for sure.
it's difficult to stay focused, but I find motivation in the good things to come, said Andres Escobar. I try to read a bit of the Bible each day. My bookmarks are 2 photos, one of my late mother and the other of my fiancée. He saw soccer as a school of life to teach values and tolerance, said his friend, the journalist turned diplomat, Cesar Mauricio Velasquez. To learn to win, to lose, to embrace sport as a sanctuary of unity. Andres always stayed true to that belief. Colombia were
This is
placed
so
in Group
crazy.
A with
It
Romania,
is crazy knowing
Switzerland,
he's
and host
where it's
nation,
gonna
the
go.
United States. Before the World Cup began, however, the Colombians found themselves in a problematic situation. Colombia's preparations were conducted against a backdrop of rumours of betting syndicates and drug cartels were exercising their influence over the squad. Whatever the truth, Colombia's players were affected. Many gamblers lost big money, and there appeared a sort of dark hand that was very upset with the team's performance, according to Velasquez. The dark hand in question manifested itself
that
on the
tension
TV
was
screens
already
in the
there.
players' hotel rooms, where the customary welcome messages awaiting returning guests were replaced with unpleasant threats by enterprising hackers. Following the death of Pablo
And they thought
Escobar,
that'd make them play better.
infant son of
You know
the
what I'm
Colombian
saying?
defender
Yeah.
Luis Chonto Herrera had been kidnapped and subsequently returned in Medellin. Following his side's defeat at
Crazy.
the hands of Romania, Chonto received word from home that his brother had been killed in a car crash. What should have been the time of these exciting young footballers' lives was rapidly becoming the stuff of nightmares. The team had received more death threats, even so far as if veteran midfielder Gabriel Gomez was selected for the game, the whole squad would be murdered. Manager Maturana's hands
Wow.
were tied. He had no choice but to bow to the pressure, being forced to
Jeez.
jeopardise the chances of the team progressing beyond the group stages. A side that was a shadow of its former self entered the Rose Bowl that afternoon. The swagger and confidence
In the
of
Rose
team
Bowl
that had
against the
qualified
United
so
States,
impressively
and that's the
were now
situation you're
crippled by
going
fear,
in with.
knowing that they had no other choice but to win this game. Despite their fragile mental state, the Colombians started the game brightly, attacking the Americans with all they had, but the ball would defiantly stay out of the USA goal. The clock then ticked over into the 35th minute. A low ball across the box from John Harkes was aimed at
I thought it was a lot later than that. was in the 35th minute.
Ernie Stewart, but the ball wouldn't reach the American midfielder, as the outstretched leg of Andres Escobar would deflect the ball past his own keeper and into the back of his own net. As Escobar rose to his feet, he trudged back to his position. His demeanour was that of someone who knew what the consequences of this mistake could well entail. The expression on his face would become the haunting image that would define the 1994 World Cup.
God damn, that's crazy.
Escobar's sister recounted the events of that day, watching on from her home in Medellin, as her 9-year-old son said to her, "Mommy, they're going to kill Andres," to which she responded, "No, sweetheart, people aren't killed for mistakes. Everyone in Colombia loves Andres." His teammates certainly didn't blame
That's
him.
heartbreaking.
They understood that he had to try and make that interception. It was just one of those things that happened, but they all knew that certain people wouldn't see it that way. "It's a very trying moment," said Andres Escobar, "not only because of the error I committed, but also because in these games our team could not fulfill our expectations."
I mean, it's like he did it in the 35th minute.
Yeah, they had time to win.
Like,
Wasn't like it was like the
and it
game
was 1-0.
like,
1-0 at that point.
wasn't like it was 90-minute extra time.
I thought it was the 66th minute, and I was even like, yeah, that's kind of crazy to blame him for losing in the 66th
I don't think it matters
minute.
what minute it was.
I know, but to say, but for it to be, to die over it at all is crazy. But to be the 35th minute, man,
Right.
man.
He forgot his worries, said his fiancée. There were warnings, but Andres was young and alive. He wanted to live his life. Had I known what was to come, however, I'd have kept him home that night. At roughly 3 a.m. the following morning, Andres left the premises, but was followed by a group of men who continued to hurl abuse at him. Escobar attempted to reason with the group, claiming that his own goal was nothing more than an honest mistake. The situation escalated, resulting in at least one handgun being produced. Andres Escobar was shot 6 times through the back as he sat at the wheel of his car.
Damn.
It was reported that the killer shouted "Goal" after every shot, once for each time the South American football commentator said it during the broadcast. An ambulance was called, but it was too late. Less than an hour later, Escobar was declared dead. 2 people came forward with the license plate of the truck that drove away from the scene on that fateful night, which was registered to the Gallon brothers, drug traffickers who had left Pablo Escobar's cartel. It is widely believed that the brothers lost a significant amount of money betting on the game. According to one of Pablo Escobar's former enforcers, the Gallons approached the prosecutor's office and bribed them to focus their investigation on Humberto Castro Munoz, one of the bodyguards who was present on the night of the shooting. Whether or not it was he who pulled the trigger that night remains unknown, but Munoz confessed to the murder and was sentenced to 43 years in prison, although he only served 11 years of his sentence and was released on good behavior.
11 years?
Pamela Cascardo.
I don't even think he was the one who did it. I think someone else
yeah, it was
did
absolutely. No, he definitely was not the guy who did
He
it.
took the fall.
Yeah.
Or else they would have killed him.
Yeah. Well, he didn't take the fall out of love. He took the fall out of fear.
Colombian President Cesar Guevara said that Escobar was the victim of the absurd violence affecting the country. Thousands of weeping fans threw flowers in front of the hearse as Andres was taken to his final.
Kind of ironic, though, that what he couldn't do in his life, bring the whole country together against the violence of one thing. He thought he would do it through soccer, but he ended up doing it through, his tragic death. Yeah.
That life is so cruel.
Life is so cruel, man. It really is.
He is still held in the highest regard by Colombian fans, who still bring flowers and photographs to games on the anniversary of his passing. In June 2002, the city of Medellin unveiled a statue in his honor. In what turned out to be a fitting address to the people of Colombia, Escobar wrote a piece in Bogotá's El Tiempo newspaper following Colombia's elimination from the World Cup, stating, "Life doesn't end here. We have to go on. Life cannot end here. No matter how difficult, we must stand back up. We only have 2 options. Either allow anger to paralyze us and the violence continues, or we overcome and try our best to help others. It's our choice. Let us please maintain respect. My warmest regards to everyone. It's been a most amazing and rare experience. We'll see each other again soon, because life does not end here." That is how the people of Colombia choose to remember him. That is how his legacy should be defined. His words going beyond sport, offering hope to those in times of hardship, adversity, and strife. Extending a hand of friendship and uniting those of all creeds, cultures, and backgrounds, just like what the sport of football is meant to do.
Well, that was sad.
Yeah, like, I barely have anything to say here. Wow. I was going to look up that article if you didn't read it. Yeah. Life doesn't end here. I'm tearing up.
Crazy. Absolutely insane. Like,
That story is
just-
so much more tragic than I ever thought it was.
I know, right? Like, I mean, it was gonna be sad regardless of
Yeah. But like
anything, but
his nephew saying they're going to kill him.
a 9-year-old knew what was gonna happen.
I
A
mean,
9-year-old.
think about the world he lived in. He lived in Medellin, Colombia he would have grown up in the height of Escobar and then
Right.
start experiencing the fall.
Exactly. What a terrible place to live at that time, you know?
Yeah. That's bad spawn.
Probably an understatement. L spawn.
Hell spawn. That's a tough spawn. All right. Had to find something to laugh about there. Yeah, so that story is crazy. What other great soccer stories are out there that we should check out? Other players we should check out highlights of and all that kind of stuff. Like, subscribe, and check us out for more.
Peace out.